Hello, this is News Hour on Trust TV. PDP fixes November convention as Damagun dismisses opposition alliance. Gusau Council seeks troop deployment to Zamfara trouble spots. Economic hardship triggers surge in Lagos street hawking. On the foreign scene, WHO condemns Gaza attacks, calls for immediate ceasefire. Hello and welcome to the News Update on Trust TV. I am Idris Laye Baturi. Now, the acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Umar Damagun, says the party is not bothered by what he described as an ill-fated coalition championed by a 2023 presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. Damagun stated these are the PDP's 101st National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja, where he also welcomed defectors returning to the party ahead of the 2027 elections. The reports.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, is sending a clear message. It is ready to reclaim power in 2027. And as such, it is unfazed by defections or alliances. The acting national chairman of the party, Umar Damagun, in a strongly worded address, dismissed the opposition coalition formed by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and presidential candidate of the PDP in the past two elections and other prominent political figures. Damagun insists that the PDP remains the only party with the structure and the legacy to bear the weight of national governance.
Some persons have recently learned these truths in the most uncomfortable way. Many who jump on from one side to the other return to our fold. Some even claim they have never left. With this, I want to leave a word that what you see here today, the serenity, the calmness and the composure of this neck attests to the fact that PDP is still one and waxing stronger.
The party also used the NEC meeting to announce that its elective national convention will now take place on November 15 and 16 in Ibadan, Oyo State. New members of the National Working Committee will be elected at the event, which will shape the party's leadership for the next 4 years.
NEC approved the year 2025 elective national convention scheduled to hold on Saturday, 15 to Sunday, 16 November 2025 in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital.
I believe even those who have taken a trip, majority will be temporary. What is important is for us to address executing the main agenda items on the agenda. A very successful convention producing leadership that creates confidence will lead to a lot of people retracing their steps.
Whatever we have been doing to ensure that PDP remains one family, the one single family, that formidable movement since 1999 is vindicated by the presence of all elements that make up a very veritable party organization.
The PDP NEC also approved the formation of two key committees, one to organize a convention and another to handle zoning arrangements, both expected to ensure a transparent process. With members returning, opposition alliances fracturing and preparations for its national convention underway, the PDP is setting the stage for a fierce political comeback in 2027.
Now, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Professor Nentawe Yilwatda, has been confirmed as the new national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC. His appointment was ratified on Thursday during the party's National Executive Committee NEC meeting. Yilwatda replaces former chairman Abdullahi Ganduji, who resigned last month citing health concerns. Until now, Deputy National Chairman North Ali Bukar Daluri had been serving in an acting capacity. Party stakeholders had earlier anticipated that NEC would rather confirm the salary or set a timeline for an elective convention to select a substantive chairman. The chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, Governor Hope Uzodinma, nominated him for the position, and the motion was seconded by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin. The motion was then put to a voice vote and passed. In his acceptance speech, Professor Nentawi Watda pledged to work diligently to build the party into a strong and respected political institution.
I do not take this mandate for granted. I want to accept it with gratitude and with my full heart and full mind to work together with you to build the party, knowing that all of us here are the mechanics of the party, and the party is our vehicle, and we'll fix it and move it to our destination of choice. I pledge, without hesitation, that I will work with everybody in the party. I'll unite the party, I'll build the party, I'll expand the party with you as the focus and the building block and the support that I will require to drive the party as needed by all of us so that we can fulfill the dream of Nigerians who have reposed their hope in the Renew Hope agenda.
Now, President Bola Tinubu has urged governors elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress APC to intensify effort at the grassroots level and lead the charge in delivering progressive governance. During a closed-door meeting with the governors at the State House in Abuja on Wednesday evening, the president emphasized the need for greater responsiveness to the concerns of ordinary Nigerians. He called on the governors to take the lead in implementing impactful policies and addressing the lingering challenges faced by citizens at local level. The meeting, which preceded the APC National Executive Committee next session, focused on party strategy and governance priorities across the states. President Tinubu encouraged the governors to consolidate the party's presence at the grassroots and ensure that the promises of good governance are felt by all Nigerians.
Nigerians are still complaining at grassroots. To you, the governors, you have to wet the grass more. And lead the way in delivering progressive change to Nigerians. May God bless our democracy and give us more fertile lands. Those who are working with me to achieve sovereign food guarantee for our country, we will continue to work hard for you, for the Nigerians, and listen to all of you to achieve the expected goals of this country.
Now, former Kano State Governor and 2023 presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP), Rabiu Kwankwaso, has criticized the administration of President Bola Tinubu over what he described as the marginalization of northern Nigeria in the distribution of federal resources. Speaking at the Kano State Stakeholders Dialogue on the 2025 constitutional amendment, Kwankwaso said the current allocation of the national budget appeared skewed heavily in favor of the southern region, particularly the southwest, from where the president hails from. He alleged that most of the roads in the northern region remain in deplorable condition, while the federal government continues to prioritize infrastructure development in the south. Kwankwaso cited his recent road trip from Abuja to Kano via Kaduna as evidence of the poor state of critical northern infrastructure. The former defense minister warned that the alleged imbalance in federal resource allocation could further deepen insecurity and poverty in the northern region, which he said already suffers from the lack of basic infrastructure and economic opportunities. He called on the Tinubu administration to ensure a more equitable distribution of resources to promote national unity and development across all regions. Authorities in Gusau local government say efforts are on to deploy troops to troubled communities in order to protect residents of the area against terror groups that have continued to terrorize innocent citizens. The Vice President of the Council, Aminu Wakil Amada, disclosed this while fielding questions from journalists on the resurgence of bandit attacks in communities under the local government area. He said the local council authority is already making up arrangements with security agencies to deploy some of their men to the affected communities to secure the area and its people. He confirmed to journalists that normalcy has been restored in the troubled communities of Pegimahe, Ruambori, and Bunji. According to him, a security report revealed that Wunaka and Ruambori are hotbeds of armed bandits, noting that deploying troops to those troubled communities could put their lives at risk.
I cannot say they are telling lies, but based on the security report I'm receiving, the commandant of that area, Commander Ayuba, and I know he's a strong person. As they are leaving the village, he's moving into the village, the situation. And definitely he reported back to me, things are normal. There was no any cops or killing or destruction in that village. But I don't know, you see, the insurgency or banditry in this state is something that government is doing all their best. And it's something that you can't predict. So we just have to keep praying. There is nothing we can do. God has already brought us this time for us to witness, and I'm sure we are going to live over it. It will become a history. But whatever I had later, I will let you know. But the current situation, that everywhere is calm, in that area it was.
Now, the Nigerian army has dismissed claims circulating on social media suggesting that a recent video shows the arrest of a Nigerian arms dealer, Shehu Ali Kachalla, by soldiers in Zamfara state. The video, which has resurfaced online, implies a collusion between arms traffickers and military personnel in supplying weapons to terrorists, bandits, and other criminal groups. However, the army has clarified that the footage is outdated and unrelated to any recent military operation. According to the acting director of Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Apollonia Anele, the video in question dates back to May 14, 2021, when Kachalla was arrested by the Zamfara State Police Command during a joint operation involving the Federal Intelligence Bureau (FIB) and the Special Tactical Squad (STS) of the Nigerian Police Force. At the time of his arrest, Kachalla, a 30-year-old Nigerian national, reportedly admitted to supplying over 450 rifles and thousands of rounds of ammunition to armed groups operating across Zamfara, Kaduna, and Niger states. The army emphasized that no Nigerian army personnel were indicted in connection with the case, reiterating its zero-tolerance policy on unprofessional conduct and stressed that disciplinary action is taken against any personnel found guilty of wrongdoing. Now, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluwede, has ordered an immediate investigation into a viral video showing Nigerian soldiers expressing dissatisfaction with their food supplies. In a statement on Thursday, Army spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Apollonia Anele said the video, which has gained attention online, will be thoroughly examined and findings made public. The COAS stressed that the welfare of troops remains a top priority under the Army's new Soldier First initiative. He urged personnel to use official channels for complaints, warning that posting grievances on social media violates military discipline and ethics. Now, as economic hardship deepens across Nigeria, more Lagos residents are turning to street hawking as a means of survival. Mobile traders, commonly referred to as hawkers, brave the roads and markets daily under difficult and often dangerous conditions. From the demolition of market spaces to unaffordable shop rent, many say they are simply doing what they must to stay afloat. The report.
In the face of growing poverty and economic uncertainty, hawking has become a vital source of income for many. Chidinma Victoria, a mobile trader, says she took to hawking after the market area where she previously sold goods was demolished. With no funds to rent a shop, she now moves from street to street each day, often starting as early as 3 a.m. She described the work as exhausting, but says she has little choice.
So then destroy where we stay. Then demolish everywhere. So we started life back by walking. So this market are just starting new. Maybe for now till next month ending, I'll find somewhere to something like beggar. So those people that stay at main road, I'll stay there with them.
Okpara Omolayo, a Lagos resident, believes the rise in street hawking is likely due to unemployment. She says if the government provided more jobs and made shop spaces affordable, fewer people would be forced onto the streets.
If there is employment, people will not be hawking. The poverty level in Nigeria is on the high side. There is need for government to provide work for people. If they are working, they will not be hawking. Shop, when government provides shop, it should be at a lower rate. Not that they will ask them to come and bring 1,500,000. Where would they get it from? So that is why people are hawking. Poverty level is on the high side. Our government should do something, and our country will be a better country.
As more citizens turn to mobile trading just to survive, calls are growing for the government to intervene through job creation, economic support, and affordable shop spaces, so that hawking is no longer the only option for struggling Nigerians.
Now, residents of Makurdi, the Benue State capital, have raised their alarm over the growing circulation of substandard and fake drugs in the city. A cross-section of residents who spoke to our correspondent in Benue said the recent surge in counterfeit medicines is being worsened by a breakdown in enforcement mechanisms at various levels. The report.
The threat of fake and substandard drug is becoming more alarming for residents of the Benue State capital, who are now calling on relevant authorities to take urgent action before the situation escalates into a full-blown health crisis. Adding to their concerns is the rising cost of genuine medications, which many say is worsening their already deteriorating health conditions.
In the older days, the people who are making the drugs, there was no complaint. But these days, the NADAC, when you buy a drug, they write a NADAC number on it up. But when you take it, it was fake. And the NADAC are not doing something over it.
And it means that is what I'm spending is rubbish. It's not value. Things are going high, and we are now in poverty. So the poverty is too much.
Like yesterday in Daude, people that are carrying some other drugs come at Daude, they are selling it. They said they have another number on top of it. So that issue is a very bad issue. So we have support to take care of that issue.
Meanwhile, medical practitioners say the presence of fake drug is making it increasingly difficult to effectively treat patients, leading to poor health outcomes.
You use a lot of money to get your medication, and at the end of it, you will not benefit. Nothing comes out of it, and people go back suffering. You have to go back again and start looking for how to get more money in order to get these medications. So if the authority will help us in order to go around searching, especially NAFDAC, there are a lot of unbranded medications now in the pharmacy. So if they can go there and check and fish them out.
A pharmacist, Patrick Okoye, is advocating for the implementation of a track and trace system to monitor pharmaceutical products throughout the supply chain and ensure only safe, certified medicines reach the market.
They say do paracetamol 500 milligrams. Some people will do 300 milligrams. And they will write 500 milligrams on it. Those are standard drugs. Now, falsified drugs are drugs that, okay, they will write paracetamol on this drug, why it will not be paracetamol. Some might put chalk and other things inside. Some will put flour. Those are all called falsified drugs or unwholesome drugs. You get? And then we also classify, some people say expired drugs. Just they'll remove the label and put a different label on it. And instead of being expired, they'll put a new date on it and say, oh, this is not expired.
He further emphasized the importance of barcode verification and advised consumers to always check for NAFDAC registration numbers and expiring dates on drug packaging.
Pulling fake drug supply and mostly comes from the manufacturers, and then mostly comes from the uncoordinated wholesale and areas. You've heard story of how they've locked some of them up and the rest. And so mostly where a professional is not there, you see people that are not into drugs, that don't know the negative effect of all this, trying to cash out or use money, like to get money from all these things. So that's like the key factor contributing to fake drugs, or let's say substandard drugs.
Experts warn that Nigeria's booming pharmaceutical market is now attracting criminal elements and unscrupulous traders who prioritize profit over public health. They are therefore calling for improved regulatory enforcement, increased public awareness, and empower consumers to protect themselves.
Now, officers of the Nigerian Immigration Service at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on Thursday morning briefly seized the international passport of suspended Kogi Central lawmaker, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, causing a momentary travel scare. The senator, accompanied by her husband, Emmanuel Uduaghan, was scheduled to board a British Airways flight to London when immigration officers flagged her as a national security risk. The incident took place just before boarding commenced for the early morning flight on July 24, 2025. Witnesses said Senator Natasha remained composed during the ordeal, maintaining that the officers lacked the legal authority to hold her passport. No official explanation was provided at the time of the seizure, which raised concern of possible political interference. During the delay, her husband was seen making urgent phone calls while efforts to resolve the situation continued. After several minutes, the passport was returned without any formal communication, and Senator Natasha proceeded through immigration and boarded her flight. Now, the Nigerian Senate has adjourned plenary to September 23, 2025, marking the end of the current legislative year, with a directive to all committees to conclude work on pending reports ahead of resumption. President of the Senate, Govs made the announcement on Thursday after a closed-door executive session that lasted over an hour. He charged all standing and ad hoc committees to make effective use of the 2-month break to finalize their assignment in order to ease legislative consideration and adoption upon resumption. In his earlier remarks, Senator Akpabio also encouraged lawmakers to use the recess period to inspect road construction projects in their constituencies and across the country. Meanwhile, senators are expected to travel to Jos Plateau State on Friday to attend the burial of the wife of their colleague, Senator Dickett Blank.
The suspension is just plenary sittings. All ad hoc committees should continue to work. All necessary committees, diaspora committee, committee on reparation, committee on interior, and others. This is the best time for you to undertake visits to prisons and all that. Do all your reports and make them available as soon as we come back. We'll have a special day to consider all reports. And then all the other committees, reports extended to you, you must also make sure that those reports are ready for Senate scrutiny when plenary commences. You are moving from plenary for the next few weeks, but you are not stopping your legislative functions because that's what your people elected you to do.
Now, the House of Representatives is pushing for reforms to ensure faster and more accessible justice delivery in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The Chairman House Committee on FCT Judiciary, Adamu Gamawa, stated this during a public hearing on 2 bills in Abuja, one seeking to increase the number of judges in the FCT and another to establish lower courts with civil and criminal jurisdiction. The reports.
Gamawa will emphasize the House's commitment to timely justice and reducing the burden on existing judges, said the reforms align with Speaker Abbas Tajuddin's vision of making justice affordable and accessible to all residents. Speaker Abbas, represented by Deputy Minority Leader Aliyu Madaki, described the bills as urgent steps towards necessary judicial reforms. President of the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA), Afamosiwe, backed the proposals but called for the removal of Section 16 of the Principal Act, citing the need to review aspects of customary law.
Well, there are two bills actually. One is to increase the number of judges in the FCT to at least not less than 100. We all know that the federal capital is expanding every day. People are coming in. Wherever you have so many people, you expect to have some disputes. So the burden of the cases on the present number of judges is very, very cumbersome.
This public hearing is a direct exercise of that constitutional mandate. It affirms our commitment to check and balances, good governance, and the rule of law.
My understanding is that there is already in place an FCT Customary Court Act, which has given powers to the FCT Customary Court to adjudicate the matters of customary court. My suggestion is that we should expunge Section 16, which gives the FCT District Court powers to apply customary laws.
In another development, the House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Resources (Downstream) has dismissed petitions calling for the suspension of the boards of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority (NMDPRA) and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC). The decision followed an extensive committee meeting in which several pressing issues were reviewed. Among them is the state of Nigeria's refineries, which the committee resolved to investigate, particularly in light of proposed sales following substandard investments in their turnaround maintenance. Committee Chairman Ikengo Guchinyere announced the setting up of 10 technical subcommittees to examine a wide range of concerns, including allegations of Dangote Refinery's planned takeover of petroleum product transportation and retailing petitions from modular refinery operators over lack of feedstock supply, strengthening small modular refineries, and proposed amendments to the Petroleum Industry Act (PIA) to empower the NMDPRA and bolster the downstream sector.
The committee also decided to dismiss the petition calling for dissolution of the NMDPRA and the regulatory body. And this is born out of the fact that we are framers of the PIA. We made those provisions. We created Section 14 sub C that talks about tenure of job.
The committee will also address ongoing issues related to the continued importation of fuel, complaints by labor unions over fears of monopoly, the OVH acquisition, and concerns raised by NNPC retail outlets.
Yes, those concerns that have been raised by importers of petroleum products on sustainability of their business, and those concerns that have been raised by refinery owners that we cannot invest billions and then you are importing finished product which will run us out of business, which is also a very legitimate concern.
In a related development, stakeholders in Nigeria's oil and gas sector are split over a proposal to establish a new agency focused on the decommissioning of oil and gas installations. At a recent session chaired by the chairman of the House Committee on Petroleum Resources, Upstream, Alhassan Adodogoa, lawmakers and regulators debated the merits of the proposed National Commission for Decommissioning of Oil and Gas Installations, NCDOGI. Dogoa described the bill as a leadership initiative aimed at enforcing global standards and protecting host communities from environmental harm caused by abandoned infrastructure.
This bill is not just another legislative initiative. It is a leadership bill designed to ensure that Nigeria meets globally accepted standards of decommissioning process, while protecting host communities and the environment.
DPR, or now NUPRC, lacks capacity to enforce that position of the Act.
However, several regulators questioned the need for a new body, arguing that existing frameworks already address decommissioning.
This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Disabled farmers urge government support to boost food security. More news when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. PDP fixes November convention as Damagun dismisses opposition alliance. And Gusau Council seeks troop deployment to Zamfara's troubled spots. Now moving on to more stories, people living with disabilities say they are contributing meaningfully to Nigeria's food security if given the necessary support to expand their agricultural activities to large-scale commercial farming. This is the inspiring story of a blind man and a polio survivor who, despite their physical limitations, have taken to farming to provide for their families. Trust TV's Bello Musa, who visited their farm in Kaukuri, reports.
Williams Markel lost his sight nearly 30 years ago, but rather than allow his condition to hinder him, he embraced farming as a way to remain productive and independent, just like any other person.
Just as from headache, I'm feeling headache. So if the headache just hook me, then I will go to get the medicine. Then from there, the thing just enter my eye.
He says his passion for farming actually grew stronger after he became blind.
Since when this thing happened to me, I know they fit sit down because they will just leave me for house, they go farm. So the thing they pain me. I say, to me now, so I go sit down for house like this. So if they go to farm, then me I will just carry my hoe to backyard. I start for back. When they come back, they see who do this or they ask. Me I no go talk. So our house neighbor, they just as they see me, they saw me at the work. Then they tell my parents, say, "Now William, they ain't do this work."
Despite his condition, Williams locates and visits his farm unaided every morning to supervise his crops, a feat many describe as an extraordinary demonstration of ability in disability.
If I enter the farm, I use my leg, match, I know this is the region, this is where I go follow. Then when they do the work, they use my hand to touch, to know if I do it, well, if I cover the grass, if I don't cover the grass, then I will just know how I go match and put the grass, then I...
Just like Williams, Matthew Joshua, a father of 3 and polio survivor, has also defied his physical limitations to become a productive farmer. Operating entirely from a seated position, he carries out his daily farming activities with dedication and focus.
When I get this disability and also see how my parents are farming, so that is why I put interest. So that I myself, I put interest, I start learning how to farm. So that I believe that one day I will marry to get children.
Even with limited resources, Matthew says he is able to harvest a fair amount of produce each season.
Sometimes I used to get 2 to 3 bags of soya beans. Granite, I used to get 2 bags sometimes. Sometimes will be more than that myself. Maize, sometimes I used to get 10 bags.
He explained that working on the farm, especially with his condition, requires a great deal of vigilance and resilience.
Sometimes we used to sow this on the farm. Sometimes sow snakes, scorpio, and other harmful insects inside the farm bed. By the grace of God, God used to help us.
However, like many farmers across the country, high input costs are a major barrier to increased productivity.
We can get like fertilizer and chemicals that we use to kill the grass. So that is our challenges.
Because I have handwork, I am a shoemaking. So through shoemaking, I used to get some money. When I get some money, then I will go and buy fertilizer to apply it on my farm.
The two farmers emphasize that many people with special needs often resort to street begging due to lack of opportunity. But their stories are proof that with determination, disability is not inability. They are calling on others with disabilities to seek meaningful work and avoid street begging.
We're not supposed to be begging, go street begging to beg. If you can farm, get your food. I think when you get food, nothing you go carry, you go outside, they beg. No. So we need government to more.
People with special needs, I'm calling them to not to go on the street begging. I'm calling them to go to farm or to learn skills. Like we have a different type of skills.
Both men are now appealing to the government for support, as they believe that with access to modern tools, funding and training, they can contribute even more to Nigerians' food security goals. Their stories show that disability does not define their destiny, as they continue to pursue farming against all odds. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
Now, a new chapter is opening in Jigawa State's agricultural journey as a strategic alliance with Saudi-based agricultural giant Al Yassin Agro has signaled a major leap forward for the sector. Our correspondent reports that their partnership is set to unlock the full potential of the state's rich farming landscape, positioning Jigawa as a major force in both national and continental food security. The reports.
In what is seen as a game-changing move, a delegation led by Dr. Shuaibu Abubakar of Al Yassin Agro Limited, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, visited Jigawa and praised the state for its exceptional farming environment. The visiting team noted that Jigawa's farmers enjoy a rare advantage of easy access to vital agricultural inputs facilitated by the state government, which sets the foundation for successful and sustainable farming.
The invitation of Al Yassin Company from Saudi Arabia, which they are vast in agriculture in Saudi Arabia, with the support of his executive, His Excellency, the Governor of Jigawa State, to see how can we come in to help and assist in achieving the aims of His Excellency in the field of agriculture.
Everything is impressive, really, and I would be assured that at the end of the road, you will reach your goal, inshallah. From what we saw in these 2 days, really we are so impressed about the work is done until now, and we would be so happy to be the partners with your impressive work and be the partner for your success story.
Governor Umar Namadi expressed confidence that with the state's abundant natural resources and the technical support from Al Yassin Agro, Jigawa is on course to becoming Africa's leading hub for food production. He pointed out that agriculture already contributes a remarkable 46% to Jigawa's gross domestic product (GDP), thanks to the state's expansive arable land, ample water sources, and highly fertile soil.
I want to assure you that Jigawa State is ready to work with you and ready to tap the expertise you have in irrigation. You can see that the potential of our irrigation, we have not even exploited 20% of our potential of irrigation. Our water level is quite shallow, very low. So it's good for irrigation throughout the state. In fact, that's a part of the state with about 80, 70 meters deep, you can still get water, which I think is also very good.
With this international collaboration, the future of agriculture in Jigawa is not only secure, but also promising with far-reaching benefit for food stability and economic growth across Nigeria and beyond.
And the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU between the FCT administration and MAG International Links Limited for the development of the City Walk Abuja project. The project is part of the effort of further develop the FCT in line with its master plan. Trust TV's Habibat Ajayi has more.
The MOU signing ceremony took place at the minister's residence in Life Camp Abuja. The proposed project is aimed at replicating aspects of Dubai's urban development within Nigeria's capital city. While addressing the investor, Minister Wike stated that the agreement aligns with President Bola Tinubu's development agenda. He emphasized that land allocated for the project may be revoked if the investor fails to meet the agreed timeline.
Timelines where you have to say that from today to the next time, you have done this. So we went to the Abuja Technology Village, where they have identified, and I want to make it clear, we have had problems. Land grabbers in Abuja Technology Village. Even those in the technology village are part of the problems what they're having. For the past 20 years, nothing has happened. And therefore, I will not like to lose this opportunity that we have seen investors who really want to invest and develop.
The executive director of MAG International Links Limited, Kazim Gigado, reaffirmed the company's commitment to executing the project as planned.
We are also part of that renewed hope agenda because we have contributed significantly as a group to various aspects of Mr. President's objectives and targets. And I'm sure maybe some people may not know that one of our affiliates is the one driving some of the developments in the border control systems of Nigeria. As I said, our group is a group of companies, about 15 different companies, all targeted towards different aspects. And each one of these elements or each one of these affiliates contributes directly to what we're trying to do in the Abuja City Walk. We consider the Abuja City Walk to be a major flagship for us as a group.
In the same vein, the minister inspected the ongoing appeal courts in Dakibiu, which is to be delivered by September.
We'll complete it by September, and I told you that you'll be paid by latest by next week. We'll give you more funds. I said so. So I affirm that yes, by September, you will hand over.
Meanwhile, Minister Wike has cautioned that land would not be granted to investors who later become spectators. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, in a bold move to revive Nigeria's fading sport legacy, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has announced plans to establish a national sports academy. The Speaker made the announcement at the first ever distribution of sport equipment to members of the House Committee on Sports. The reports.
Nigeria has a large youth population, with over 60% being under age 25, making grassroots sports a vital tool for engagement. Experts and administrators have called for a revival of school sports at primary and secondary levels to ensure early talent recovery, a practice that has largely declined. The Speaker House of Representatives believe that this can be achieved through the establishment of a world-class national sports academy that will identify and nurture sporting talents from a young age.
I have put in the budget provision to build a sports academy. The sports academy will have all kinds of games, not just football that we'll be concentrating on. All outdoor and indoor games, athletics, and what have you.
He lamented the country's recent underperformance on the global stage, including a complete medal shutout at the last Olympic Games.
And I told him, one way for us to really regain our glory is not to continue with the present system of who knows who in identifying the people to represent Nigeria. Let's go back to the basics. Let's go back to the grassroots. Let's go back to competitions at the grassroots level. Let's go back to developmental sports.
The chairman House Committee on Sports, Kabiru Amadu, praised the Tinubu-led administration and the leadership of the National Assembly for increasing the 2025 sports budget by 288% from 29 billion naira to 113 billion naira.
The distribution of sport equipment today is part of our committee's wider commitment to supporting sports development at the community level by empowering members of this committee with necessary resources. We are ensuring that training programs can be conducted in various constituencies, local competition and tournament can be better organized, youths in urban and rural areas have access to quality sporting tools, talent discovery is made easier and more inclusive.
Stakeholders at the event insist that Nigeria must shift from a competition-based sports model to a development-driven system.
There is no any project that will reach the grassroots across the country as quickly as possible as what we are trying to do today. Because it is sports. Everybody will feel it. Every constituency will have a feel of it. Every constituency will develop it. At the end of the day, we're not doing it for fun. We are doing it to bring out the talents for tomorrow.
Gradually now, Nigeria has become the center. It's becoming gradually a tourist center for sports. We've been hosting international events. Karate is about to start again. But that will only work if NIS is back to life.
The National Assembly House Committee on Sports has gone beyond policy making to also making sure that the implementation of those policies are apt. And this is one of it. One of the major problems we have as far as sport is concerned is not the absence of skills, it is the absence of the facilities and infrastructure.
Highlight at the event was the distribution of sporting materials.
This is a set of agency.
The academy will admit secondary school age students discovered through grassroots competitions nationwide.
And now in business, commercial banks have closed about 29.4 million bank accounts as at March 2025 in effort to clean their books of questionable accounts and comply with regulatory order on linkage of bank accounts to National Identity Number, NIN. These were contained in the latest data of the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, NIBSS, which also indicated that the number of dormant or inactive accounts grew by 13.6 million or 71.3% to 33.39 million in March 2025 from 19.79 million in the corresponding period of 2024. This figure, however, represents a full recovery at the bank's books shows 33.29 million closed accounts the previous month of February, which was a new high from 29.43 million recorded in January. The March 2025 figure represents a 30.43% of 6.89 million % year-on-year increase in the number of closed bank accounts compared to 22.54 million bank accounts closed in March 2024. A bank account is classified inactive when it records 0 transactions, including deposits, withdrawals, transfers, or point-of-sale transactions for 6 months. Now, away from Nigeria, the World Health Organization has condemned attacks on its staff and facilities in Gaza, saying they pose a serious threat to humanitarian operations. According to the agency, a building housing WHO personnel in Deir al-Balah was struck multiple times following evacuation orders by Israeli forces. First broke out during the incident, forcing staff, including women and children, to flee the premises. WHO report that several male staff members were detained during the chaos, with some allegedly held in poor conditions. One staff member remains in custody. The organization also confirmed that its main medical warehouse in southern Gaza was hit, caught fire, and was later looted. The facility plays a key role in distributing medical supplies across the region. Tensions between Thailand and Cambodia erupted into violence on Thursday as both sides exchanged airstrikes and rocket fire near the disputed Emerald Triangle region. Thai fighters' jets targeted Cambodian military positions, while Cambodian forces fired rockets into Thailand's Sisaket province, killing at least 11 civilians, mostly students caught in a petrol station blast. The conflict, rooted in a decades-old border dispute near ancient temples, escalated after a Cambodian drone was spotted over Thai military post. Thailand responded with a airstrike, accusing Cambodia of initiating the attack and targeting civilians. All border crossings have been closed and evacuations ordered. Diplomatic ties are deteriorating, with both countries expelling each other's envoy. China and Malaysia have called for calm, warning the violence threatens regional stability. Let's now join Joseph Peter for Sport News.
In the previous edition of the Women Africa Cup of Nations 3 years ago, Rasheedat Ajibade wore a sorry figure as she left the pitch at the Stade Mohammed V Casablanca alongside teammate Halimatu Ayinde when both were handed a red card for a foul against a Moroccan player in the first semi-final match of the competition. As a consequence, both players were rendered ineligible for the third place, which Nigeria lost by an odd goal to Zambia. Fast forward to July 2025, Ajibade, captain of Nigeria, is standing tall and proud and continues to be the standard as the Super Falcons march towards the title with determination and resoluteness to accomplish Mission X. Teammate Esther Okoronko won the Woman of the Match award when Nigeria trashed Tunisia 3-0 in their opening match at the Lerby Zaoli Stadium, but the one they call Rash took over from there, winning the awards against Botswana, Zambia, and South Africa, and looking in command to plug the Player of the Tournament award on Saturday night. As Nigeria's joint top scorer at the 2022 AFCON, and now again leading by example, her influence is undeniable. Despite external criticism at times, her coach Justin Madugu remains confident in her impact. Away from the pitch, Ajibade's influence is no less powerful. Through her Rash Foundation, she invests in grassroots football and provides medical outreach for budding talent as extension of her vision for Nigeria's football's future. The late and self-effacing Nigerian leader is also highly motivated by the fact that the Super Falcons have never lost a final match at the Women AFCON, going back to the first competition that Nigeria hosted in 1998. That's Sport News. I'm Joseph Peter.
And with that, we come to the end of the News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and also watch us live on YouTube for more news programs and documentaries. My name is Idris Laye Bature. Thanking you for being with us. Good night.